So Hog Muncher says, is this the most chaotic ACC Coastal yet? Is Pitt the new favorite there? I don't think Pitt is the new favorite yet in the ACC Coastal. I would probably still favor North Carolina, believe it or not, although they do have that loss in conference, which makes it tough for them. Just let me go ahead and pull down my list here to see kind of current divisional odds. So the Hokies mathematically might have it right now. But look, they also lost James Mitchell, as we discussed just a couple of minutes on this live stream. That's a pretty big blow for them. They're also underdogs at West Virginia. So I will say Vegas power ratings are not quite buying in yet on the Hokies, despite the fact they absolutely jumped North Carolina and got me that money line sprinkle there. I think North Carolina is the right favorite in this division, even though they have the division loss. Pitt scares me a little bit for this reason. I don't think they're quite as good on the defensive line as they have been in years past, which is what has helped make that defense go. Additionally, Pitt's run game is terrible. Pitt is going to play games this year like producer Jordan saw last weekend against Tennessee. He's a Tennessee fan. That they just can't put games away. If Pitt could run the ball late in the game and grind the game away, they would not have had the crazy last 10 minutes that lasted almost an hour against the Volunteers because the clock would be running and they'd be putting this game away. Instead, Pitt has to keep throwing. That's just kind of what they are right now. Offensive line-wise, from a run blocking standpoint, they're not that good. And that will lead to some games that they will blow later in the year because they're unable to hold leads. We've actually seen this pattern from them a little bit in the past few years. Miami has an important game this weekend if you want to talk ACC Coastal. Guys, on the live show, I bet Michigan State plus 7.5 when it opened up. That line's down to 5 now. Michigan State's not a bad team. Now, should they be under a touchdown? I think so, but not a ton under a touchdown. I think Miami's still a good football team. They did lose linebacker Keontre Smith to injury, so he's going to miss a significant period of time. That's a bad blow for them because Miami, as we know, was already really struggling at the linebacker position in camp. Our guys at Inside the U, David Lake and Gabby, they identified linebacker as the true weakness of the Miami defense, whereas they thought the defensive line, if healthy, and the secondary as pretty good units. They thought the linebackers were a concern. And to lose Keontre Smith when they did is problematic for them. So do you really believe that that Miami is going to be able to run the table there or to finish with just one loss in the ACC? Personally, I don't. I think they're probably a more of a 2-loss ACC team, and they have to go to North Carolina. North Carolina was my pick for the Coastal because of its ability to play man coverage against the Hurricanes, right? We have seen in past, if you have the corners to play good man coverage against Miami, their offense is in trouble. And that is what North Carolina did to them last year. That is what Clemson largely did to them last year. And that is what Alabama did to them in the opening game. North Carolina's corners, not the whole defense, but the corners for Carolina are very good players, and they have a large advantage, in my opinion, over Miami's receivers. So for that reason, I do still favor North Carolina to win the ACC Coastal. But it's certainly much more wide open. Virginia, with its pass protection now, looks like it can probably score on most anybody. So we'll have to see what happens. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that game this weekend when they go to Chapel Hill. But the Coastal is kind of back to being super wide open, and that's difficult.